Welcome to the Love, Law, and Life Makeover podcast, a go-to for hope, faith, and joy in changing your life. I'm Presley Cox, lawyer, speaker, and author of Hope Lines. I have an easy-to-find website, neilpresleycox.com. You can't miss it. And a nice welcome for my presenter and co-host, Kelsey Gibbs.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of Hope Lines. We are going chapter by chapter through this book with Neil Presley Cox, and today joining us is his lovely wife, Anna Cox. We're gonna be diving into rocks of stability, grandparents raising their kids as kids. That's today's topic that we'll be going through. Neil, do you want to kind of give us maybe like just an overview of the chapter?
Well, I have to start with the title, Rocks of Stability. I see this not only with the grandparents that are actively raising their children's children, but with the grandparents that are a source of stability for kids that are in the middle of a divorce. The parents are fighting and they're stressed, they're unhappy. They're moving, they're doing all these things. Maybe one of them's getting intoxicated. Maybe that one's not even allowed to see the kids. And I see the grandparents stepping up as a source of stability. They live in the same home that they've lived in. The kids go over there and things are the same, and the grandparents are behaving the same. They're loving on those kids the same. So it's not just the grandparents that actually have taken on their grandchildren to live with them, but that phrase, rocks of stability, is meant to include all the grandparents that are just loving on their grandkids no matter what's going on in their world. As for the story, this is the situation where some older folks as kids or kid is using controlled substances and they're not doing very well. And these folks are trying to deal with helping their son or daughter with the substance problem. And are they enabling? Do they need to pull back? Should they bail this kid out of jail? Meantime, there's a couple of kids, grandkids involved. And so they have to make the decision about what to do about them. And so the grandkids start staying there, perhaps temporarily. Maybe CPS got involved and placed the kids there on a temporary basis. And then it starts to become longer because these little ones' parents aren't stepping up to the plate and dealing with their problems. So what started out as perhaps a temporary thing just to step up becomes a more permanent thing. And so you have these older folks who have maybe they're a little tired. They didn't plan on raising more kids. They finished raising their own. And now here they are raising kids again. And there's a whole new set of challenges and levels of exhaustion. But at the same time, it's that sacrificial love that I find most compelling in the story. It's just, they're putting aside what they wanted to do. Maybe they wanted to go golf in Florida, but they put all that aside, all the things that they thought they were going to do in their life because their grandkids have a need. And with whatever ounce of energy they have left in their bodies, they're going to step up and meet that need. God bless them.
Yeah, and I absolutely love one of the sentences in the story that says, when the grandmother finally gets to the part where she's just like, we're not going to enable our son anymore, and they cut off the money tree, and it literally says no more help that didn't help. So, and I'm kind of curious, like, at what point, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be different for everyone, but like, how can you kind of tell that you're like, okay, what I'm doing isn't helping and I have to help in another way? Like, I guess, how could she have gotten to that point sooner versus like, because they'd already paid for a lawyer, they had done all these things, they'd bailed him out of jail a couple times at that point. Like, how can you get to the point where like, okay, this is enough?
That's a great question. And what comes to my mind is that as a parent, you just can't see the forest for the trees. Your love for your child blocks you from seeing what's really good for them so often, and you can't see it. And a lot of the time you don't even realize you're not seeing it from a real helping common sense point of view. So it's kind of like imagine you're in the forest and you're lost and you're looking around and you're seeing all these trees, but you can't find your way out of the forest. You've got to get to a high point so you can see a wide vista. You can see something bigger than just what's right around you, and then you might have a chance of getting into a long-term solution, or get out of the forest, or actually really help your child and not enable your child, your adult child. And to me, that involves outside help. You've got to put aside what you think and get some perspective from somebody outside of yourself. You can also say you get that help from God outside of yourself, or a professional, but something outside of oneself to be able to really assess whether you're helping or enabling.
Awesome. Yeah, you're right. Just like getting that outside perspective can help change so much and get on the correct road is like much faster. What would you say parents can do to kind of help, I guess, prevent situations like this? Obviously, this guy's got, he's with this woman who's not even loyal to him. There's drug use going on. Like as a parent, is there anything these parents could have done that you think of that could have helped prevent the situation of having having grandchildren in the first place?
Ties into the last question, really, and I think the sooner that a person starts to take a step back and look at their enabling, the better off it's going to be. And so, once again, getting some outside perspective, like, for example, go to some Al-Anon meetings and learn how to take care of yourself and take a step back from somebody who's living an alcoholic addict life. What do you think, Anna?
Yeah, I mean, I think Al-Anon is a great chance to get a different perspective and to just kind of get other people's thoughts. But in Al-Anon, they share their experience, so they're not telling you what to do, which is really good. But it's just almost like a reflection of, I don't know, comparison of like, you know, what are they doing in their life and what do I think of that? And then it's like, oh, how do I connect this to my life and see things in my life that I'm almost in denial about, kind of.
What is Al-Anon exactly? Can you tell?
Al-Anon is a group of people that meet, and it's basically for anyone that has been affected by anybody's drinking, whether it's a family member or children or a husband or wife or anyone. And it's just a great support system. It's just a group of people that get together and there's different meetings throughout the week. And you just kind of share your experience, strength, and hope. And there's the 12 steps that go along with it, which are wonderful. I've been going to Al-Anon for, I think it's been about 11 years. And it's just been so great. It's teaching me to take care of myself and focus on myself. So that way I can be healthier for those around me and also see the blind spots that I've had over the years.
There's no requirements to attend Al-Anon. It's not like you have to sign a pledge or commit to paying dues. There's no
Yeah.
fees, there's no requirements. You go if you choose to, and you don't go the next week if you choose not to. And you work at your own pace in it and put in what you want to get out of it.
Mhm.
Awesome. Wow. I'm sure and is that nationwide? Do you know?
I think it is because everywhere
Yeah.
we went, I mean, we can find a meeting anywhere.
Worldwide.
Yeah, it's worldwide and it's great. It's just like, and you can just go and just completely be yourself. There's like, I don't know, it's just the most comfortable setting and it's just you're immediately friends with anybody that's there and you have kind of a lot of things in common, even though the stories are different. You find that there's so much in common and it's great.
Helping people help hurting people.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, kind of my last question, I think, on this is if like as parents of your own, and I might just be rephrasing the other two, but as parents is there anything that you guys would do different in raising your own kids, or maybe some words of wisdom for people who are raising their kids, of like how they can do it in a way that, I don't know, is there a way, I guess, to prevent broken families, or raising the next generation? Is there any words of wisdom that y'all can provide for that?
Boy, that's a broad one. It's a good one, but it's a broad one. I having raised 3 kids now, I can attest to having made a lot of mistakes. And one of the things that, from my point of view, that I would have done differently is I would have put some real serious shutdowns and limits upon technology, starting when they were younger with television and computer, and then moving on into the smartphones and all that sort of social media stuff. I'm not saying that I would have homeschooled them and completely eliminated technology, but I would have been very, very strict about it, because I think it has a host of evils that tie into it. That's one. Anna, do you have some?
I mean, I definitely think that's, a piece of things. I think for us with our older son, it was just very, very challenging because of his challenges, and that anything we tried usually didn't work. And he had some special needs that we really didn't get diagnosed when he was younger. And so I don't know, there's just, when I look back on everything, I don't really have like a lot of like regrets. Think a big regret would be like not getting him like the actual help and support he needed, but where we lived, there wasn't as much support. I think we could have been much more organized in, implementing a lot more structure and all the things with technology and all that, but we were kind of in survival mode for many years. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I think structure is really, really good, and he definitely needed structure, but we were kind of in, a lot of, I'm gonna
with-
say trauma. I
turmoil
was
with
in
a
trauma.
challenge kid.
So
Absolutely.
we're just trying to survive it,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's our experience, and not a lot of people always have that experience, I look at other families sometimes and I think like, wow, like if our son didn't have the special needs, we could have done it so differently. But it's so easy to look back and like want to do things differently, but I have to just accept that that's the way everything played out, and it was meant to play out like that.
Yeah.
But, it's true that hindsight is, 2020 and stuff like that. But I do agree with what you're saying about the technology, but it's just kind of infiltrated, what's the word?
Infiltrated?
Thank you.
Yeah, it has.
The world and all of us too, like.
Right, and as a sort of a corollary to the technology thing, there are so many voices yelling at all of us about how to live our life. Go this way. No, that's wrong. Go this way. And if you are caught up in social media and technology, you're getting all these competing voices, and every one of them's telling you that they're right. And if you go down the other road, you're wildly wrong. And so I think it's helpful to kind of try to early on find your platform.
Yeah.
And then shut off those voices and don't constantly listen to outside voices and all these competing things, and have your platform. Find what works and then stick to it, and don't get caught up in this swirl of constantly changing.
You're
Chasing the next shiny thing.
That was kind of how I was. I had so many parenting books. I'm not kidding you. Like I was like, here's the next book, here's the next book. And like, honestly, none of them really worked.
Oh, I like the old schools. There's some old school things that are really good.
Love and Logic. Love and Logic was amazing.
Love and Logic was amazing.
And 1, 2, 3 Magic. Those were both
Yes,
good.
they're simple. They're a mix
Yeah.
of common sense and discipline and love, and they're not going to change in 100 years. Just like love isn't going to change in 100 years. Discipline's not going to change in 100 years.
And you're very logical, so that was perfect for you. I think that's really why you liked it too.
Yeah, it was simple, and it was something you could do.
Yeah.
We could do.
But we are far from experts on the parenting thing.
Oh no, now that we're done raising kids, we are.
Oh yeah, we
experts.
think we know everything.
That's the irony of it, is now I kind of know what to do now that I'm done with the whole thing.
But one thing I will say I won't do is there are sometimes there's people that are like, almost looking down on other parents when they see like, the people are older, they've raised their kids and all that, then they like start making little comments about other parents and what's going on. And I just remember when I was in those hard situations, like I wouldn't want
Yes.
anybody, being that judgmental, and I don't ever want to be that judgmental because I know how hard it is. And, you just really don't know what somebody's going through, whether it's the grandparents, or I
Yeah, the
think,
last thing a parent that's struggling needs is some mean-faced person offering unsolicited
Yeah.
advice.
yeah,
In fact, who needs that?
yeah, nobody needs that.
Right. Nobody needs that ever.
So,
Like,
so when I give unsolicited advice, I always smile. Oops.
You got better about that. You're not as much into giving advice, but see, since he's a lawyer, I think it comes a lot more natural to you, but you've learned to kind of like compartmentalize where you're.
Well, yeah, if it's unsolicited, I can't send a bill.
That's true. And if he tries to give me advice, I'm like, well, I don't know, I need to think about that, or.
So, yeah, rocks of stability.
mm,
Bless them. Bless their hearts for trying so hard.
yeah. And yeah, figuring it out and being there. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes. When it comes to children, there's nothing more important on this planet than loving a child and trying to protect a child. Everything else is secondary.
I love it. Well, Neil, Anna, thanks for coming on here and pouring out your hearts of wisdom. Again, everyone, if you would like to go on Amazon, you can get Hope Lines there. You can also go to neilpresleycox.com and order there. And we also do speaking events, just working on towards building the world up for the generations to come and helping people that are already here. So definitely check us out. And we'll see you next time on another episode of Love, Law, and Life Makeovers.
Blessings. Stop recording.